So, hello and welcome to today's Friday Faith and Business Spotlight. Today, I am joined by Jason Kinte, the founder of, was it Freedom Academy?
Yes.
Yes. So delighted to have this conversation with you today, Jason. Jason has been a very much so valuable part of our community, the Dear June community, contributes so much strong man of faith. And I'm just glad to have this time here where we can just share with our listeners a little bit about what it is you're doing. In the interest of time, we will just jump right in. All right. So, Jason, introduce yourself first of all, and tell us a little bit about your business, like what it is you do exactly, and for whom.
Sure. Sure. TGITD. Thank God it's this decade. That's how I greet. I'm the leader of the Dream Decade Challenge as well, because I worked at Microsoft Canada. And it's really because of my dad. My dad was a scholarship winner from Antigua in the Caribbean, and he came to Canada on scholarship and did his Bachelor of Commerce
Mm-hmm.
at a university in Toronto, and
Mm-hmm.
I won 7 scholarships, University of Toronto, to study business, really because of my dad's guidance. And I worked at Microsoft Canada as a co-op, and then I planned my whole career on one document. And 23 years later, I retired with $1 million exit, and I established freedomacademy.com.
Wow. So you have accomplished a lot in your young age. Tell us about Freedom Academy. Like, what does it do?
Yeah,
How the
so
impact it makes?
Yeah, sure. So there's visions and missions. So the vision is supposed to be something you can never achieve, so you keep working towards it. So that we envision a world where everything is free, and
Mm,
that's not going to happen until heaven, right? Right.
mm,
I don't think they're going to be charging you a certain amount at the gate. Jesus paid the price, but the mission is to help people rise to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and live their God-given dreams.
mm. Okay. So who are those people? You said specifically, who are you targeting?
Well, really, I could say there's something there for everybody in the entire world because we teach the younger people the
Mm-hmm.
7 biblical principles for success in life that
Mm,
won me 7 scholarships in 96 and helped me retire at 45 with $1 million exit with
mm-hmm.
the world's first 25-year discipleship book course complete. That's called You're Gifted. So think freely to course. Essentially what happened, I I didn't understand how to apply business principles to make money because I just cared about the gospel. So my
Mm,
first corporation does everything for free since 1999. I don't market that as much because it's called Free Shares Incorporated. So
mm-hmm.
I file nil tax returns, but it protects the PHREE way I spell free to protect my intellectual property. And also that just points people to the Bible. However, the other businesses actually charge and make money. So I was doing Toronto Poets from 2002 to 2010. It cost me my house at
Mm-hmm.
33. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't do business planning. And I also didn't read any business books. I studied business, but
Mm-hmm.
most people that study business don't read business books. Okay. So
Mm,
textbooks don't really teach you about entrepreneurship. So I read economics books and things like that, but that's for economic policy. That's for like macroeconomics. But in terms of entrepreneurship, books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Law of Success,
mm-hmm.
Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I didn't read any of those. So when I had to sell my house and pay off debts and move in with my mama at 33, when all my friends are getting married and having kids and stuff, I realized, listen, I have to learn how to apply practical business principles to business and beyond just marketing the gospel, which is valuable, but
Fundamental, yes.
I need to have money as well, right?
Yes.
So, and my dad struggled and got depressed when he lost his job. So I always had that in my mind that when I lost my job, not if, when I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to hire myself, because my dad wasn't an entrepreneur and he struggled as a taxi driver. So, and it happened to me the same age. But
Mm-hmm.
what I did was I realized I started the Dream Decade Challenge when that year I had to sell my house in 2010 because Bill Gates has a quote that most of us, and he came and spoke to us in 99. So I can say
Mm-hmm.
he's a distance mentor. Mentor doesn't mean you want to be like the person, you want to be better.
Right, right.
So the thing is, Kobe Bryant wanted to be better than Michael Jordan, right? And so unfortunately he passed away. But what my point is that The quote is, most of us overestimate what we could do in 1 year and
Mm-hmm.
underestimate what we could do in 10 years. So
Mm.
I started this Dream Decade Challenge. I thought people could catch on, but I realized that most people
Right.
don't think that long term. And
Yeah.
that's why they're not successful, because this move to shorts, making everything in 1 minute, everybody with experience knows you can't accomplish that much in 1 minute.
Mm.
So I'm like doing the opposite when the world is going towards everything short. And just so you can see the person's, you don't know how the person is, you don't know what they believe, you don't know if they're going to treat you well. So if people are making decisions on that 1 minute clip of somebody, it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work out that well. You need to have a long range vision. So I do the Dream Decade Challenge. I'm planning to run for prime minister on that next decade. But 12 years after I founded the Dream Decade Challenge, I sold my next house that I
Mm-hmm.
bought with a better mindset to rent it out and live in the basement. And this is a key principle. If you use less than you
Mm-hmm.
consume, you gain. But if you use more than you consume, you
Mm.
lose and you
Of
get in
course.
debt and you end up a slave. So I basically use only the basement, even though I had the whole house. I rented out the top. And then in the pandemic, I flipped it. I moved upstairs and I didn't. And then and when I got let go, I got the house free for 6 months. This is testimony because I call it, I own PHRE free houses. And the thing is, I got it free for 6 months because I had proper mortgage insurance. So when you lose your job, they pay your mortgage. So
Right.
in that 6 months, I went to work. I put together all of my inspired poetry from 96 when I won 7 scholarships to 2021, 25 years with questions after. So it teaches people how to think. And
Mm.
this is just how I think. I went to school. I've never gone to a school. I went to adult education as well when I planned this in 2015 at evening times. I've never
Mm-hmm.
gone to school where they didn't ask you any questions.
Mm.
So I read all of these nonfiction books about how to, how to think and like a, billionaire essentially, how to build wealth, how to
Right.
manage money, and even relationships. But they don't have any questions. Now, John Maxwell does write some books with questions after each chapter, but I put questions. It automatically changes it from a book to a course, and
Mm.
then you can hand it in, and then I can mark it,
Mm.
right? So then a student can then hand in my book course. I can tell if I want them to be my business partner or my
Mm.
spouse. And that's basically how I vet people.
So, you are a poet, entrepreneur. You mentioned principles, seven
Yes.
principles.
Yes.
Can you share like what those principles are?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you the first three because they're simple. And if we have time, I'll do you four. I
Okay.
basically summarize all of those 100 books I read since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
All of them share these principles. Some of them acknowledge they come from God, or some of them don't, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is pay attention. There's no
Okay.
such thing as smart or stupid. There's just paying attention and not paying attention. Paying
Okay.
attention is free, but it's more valuable than any course you could pay for. A lot of people don't think they're smart. They've been programmed wrong, and all they have to do is pay attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you walk across the street without you get hit
Right.
by a
Right.
house because you're stupid, you just stop paying attention. It's dangerous not to pay attention, right?
Right.
And number two is believe. If you need
Yes.
to see it in order to believe it, you may never see it.
Mm.
Because you need to believe it in
Believe
order
it.
to see it. Now,
Yes.
it's not just believe in God, because a lot of people believe in God, but then they don't believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
People that believe in themselves, even when they don't believe in God, they accomplish great things because they think it's about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's not great to accomplish all of these things and then die and go to hell. So if you believe in God and yourself, that's the key. The third principle is to obey. Obey the rules you set to set yourself free. Now, this is not just godly rules and principles. This is
Mm-hmm.
also the rules you set. So what I get, so example for school, right? In grade 10, I got 100% in grade 10 math. The way I did that is I set a rule to stay after school and do my hard work first. This
Mm-hmm.
principle you can always apply. If you do your hard work first, then later on in life, later on in the day, you relax. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do your easy work first and you play first, you end up having to catch up. So it's the same thing with debt, right? So the thing is, you want to do your hard work early in the morning and then you relax when you're tired. If
Mm-hmm.
you play video games all morning,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose your job. You're not going to get to school, and then people are going to say, "You're a fool. Why are you playing video games when we're all here learning, working?" Now
Right.
you're relaxed. It's the same thing for retirement. You do your hard work first when you're young, challenge yourself, and then you relax when you're older and you're retired. If you do it the other way around, you end up playing first, then you still have to work after. If you work first, you get to play after. But if you play first, you still have to work after, but you
Yeah.
still fail.
So listen, those are three sound principles, and you said there are more if we have time. Is this something that is part of the whole Dream Decade Academy? Is this if you
Dream
are
Decade Challenge
or
at
the Dream Decade?
freedomacademy.com. So yes,
Okay.
it's all the academy is based on the
Mm-hmm.
7 biblical principles for success, the 5 steps to freedom from emotional abuse and misuse, and pre-engagement counseling. And it teaches the 7 steps to entrepreneurship millions. I took the first step at 22 in 99 when I planned my whole career in one document. It's called a
Mm-hmm.
target resume. It's applying the scripture, write the vision, make it plain.
So let's talk a bit about, you had said something earlier in terms of the business plan or business model. I just would love to hear like what you think. Like, is this necessary? Because a lot of us, well, entrepreneurs, I feel like it could be a hindrance. Like, they don't step out and try anything because a lot of time is spent creating the business plan,
Yes, I
right?
think there's a
So
yes.
is this necessary, or because I do think you should have some kind of plan,
Yeah.
right? But I know there is a full-on business plan that sometimes we get hung up over and eventually just tired and worn out that you just don't do anything.
Yeah, the second step is bias towards action is the most important thing because then you learn from the second step of the
Mm-hmm.
7 steps of entrepreneurship millions is market testing, and then you just have to try it because the thing is, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what, AI can give you a business plan. But I'll give you an example. AI can give you a plan. For instance, when I retired in Antigua, I asked AI how to find a hotel to partner with because I had 3 hotels at a time and I wanted to partner market a hotel to go
Mm-hmm.
down to Antigua. I thought it was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave me a list of the top 10 hotels. When I actually walked it out, I went to the second one. Okay, the first one, the person wasn't there. I went to the second one and she said, look, there's a better way. There's an association that communicates with all the hotels. She gave me the office. I went to that association. They sent out an email to all the 40 hotels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the thing is, and they said that none of them were interested. So AI cannot do that. Somebody in concept cannot do that. You have to test it. You have to mark it out. You have to market test it to see
Mm-hmm.
if it works. So that's the second step. So you write your general. I'm not saying write your whole business plan. I'm saying write your whole concept of your career. So if you say you want to do a business online, general, you can write down the name, but then you have to test it out and
Mm-hmm.
see if that name works. People
Mm-hmm.
might not think it works, right? People might give you feedback and get confused. For instance, I worked for this ed tech company called Career Cruising, and it was a good name because it's for cruising your career for something
Mm-hmm.
similar to what I do. And they said they changed the name because people would say, "Oh, are you call up the president and say I want to go on a cruise and can you give me information?" And he's like, "No, this is her." So,
Wow.
so they changed the name because
Yeah.
when they actually walked it out, it seems good on concept. You're cruising
Mm-hmm.
your career. It's for young people to check. You can test out different careers. Like there's interviews of people in different careers. It seems like a good name, but in practice, there was confusion. So my point is, you have to step out and test it out,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like you're stepping into water. You see, look,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus saved you. I failed in my first endeavors, but Jesus saved me, and I got to prevail. So you cannot get to the point where you prevail until you fail. That's why market testing is something you have to do. You don't have to have the perfect plan written out. You have
Right.
to have some kind of concept and then walk it out. But you can continue to plan as you go.
Yeah, I think so. That experience can be a good teacher for us, So you try, don't just stay in your head. I know that's what some of us do. It's like I keep thinking or dreaming about something, but you never really put it out there to see. It's like, does the market even want this? Is there anyone who would actually pay for this? And you can feel how good you want to about your venture, but if nobody wants it, you don't really have a business there. And
And you get to the point where you change it based on
mhm,
that feedback. So it's not
yes,
the 50th change is when people might say, okay, okay, okay.
right.
Right, but you don't get to that 50th version until you do the first 49.
So here's something that just came to mind now. How long? How long do you like you before you say I need to pivot? Like you're testing it. You said do your research. You have to test the idea. How
Well,
long?
well, the thing is, there's no limit. What you have to do is you have to have a backup plan that helps you buy that time. So I
Hmm.
have backup plans for my backup plans. So when the
Okay.
enemy jacks up plans, I still have backup plans for my backup plans. The reason why larger businesses make it when a lot of smaller businesses fail is because, for instance, in the pandemic, the larger businesses just call the government, they get financing, and they get, but you're a small
Mm,
business person. I had to sell my house because if my thing is, say, I don't have a line of credit, millions and
right.
millions of
Right.
dollars. So
Hmm.
what you have to do is try to figure out how do you extend the time that it
Hmm.
takes for you to figure out make it work and to find your market and to build it properly. You have to, and you could do that via a job if you get a
Hmm.
loan, great. If you get a line of credit, but most small businesses, especially if it's a new concept, you're not
Hmm.
going to get a bank loan because the bank is inherently averse to they're risk averse. So
Hmm.
the thing is, the best businesses are something new, and the bank doesn't want to take those chances. So you might be making small purchases on your credit card. You might be doing it on the side. The great thing about the internet is because before, when you started the business, generally you have to do it while most people are awake. So you can't work a 9 to 5 and you're doing a corner shop because people are like, how come your corner store only opens at 6 p.m.? Right?
Hmm.
I have to keep a job, right? So the thing is, they're gonna be like, look, I'm going to another corner store because I'm not waiting until 6 p.m. for you to open up, right? But the thing is, on the internet, no matter, you could do the work all night, right?
There you
And
go.
so you could do that. I'm not saying the whole night because a lot of entrepreneurs are so driven, they don't sleep, they don't rest. I was just listening, they were talking about some of those movie makers like George Lucas, and they died young because they would not sleep. He would be making Star Wars 20 hours a day,
Wow.
right? So the thing is, you have to have a balance to understand this might take a long time. Just like anything, if you don't sleep, you're not going to be able to do your best work. So maybe you could do that and cram for an exam or some deadline, but
Hmm.
you cannot live persistently like that,
Yeah.
or not be sharp. You won't have joy, you won't be rested, and you won't get your best ideas. You'll start out great and then slow down. And what I can say in general about people of God, what we should do is we
Hmm.
should start out fixing things that are generational and start out slowly and get better and better and better. The way God wants us to do is with the discipleship. We start out slowly. We have to fix problems because we didn't have perfect parents. There's generational things. Learn from our mistakes
Hmm.
to get better and better and better. What people to do that don't know God is they start out getting everything nice and easy, and
Hmm.
get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Ruined, their health gets bad because they're just living for today or for possessions. And that's the worst thing. This person accomplished great things when they were young and get worse and worse and worse.
Yes. 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 Okay. So we are just about at time, but I was going to ask, it's like, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs? But I feel like you gave a whole mountain full. Like, guys, you can pick it up. Any which piece, I think this is just solid advice for entrepreneurs. I mean, and I love the piece in terms of resting and working from a place of rest. Where you get your best ideas, and you're just better at what you're doing. So, in closing, I would like to ask at least like how can someone connect with you, like like what are you doing, what are you working on right now?
Everything is at the website. Sometimes I'm shocked. I'm like, this person's a business and they don't have a domain. But look, it's
Yeah.
all there. It's the tell PHRE. I used to have 100 domains and I realized people got confused. They're like, which one? So everything is linked from there, all the way from
Hmm.
my grade 5 book about becoming prime minister, all the way to my $1 million exit and my
Hmm.
book course. It's all at freedomacademy.com. That's where I offer scholarships, and I have links to all the best scholarship websites in the entire world.
All right, so Freedom Academy, that's PHREE, dumb, Freedom Academy.com. Thank you so much, Jason, for your time. I just wanted folks to just get a sense of like who is Jason Kinte,
Yes.
and you
I would
get.
say thank you so much. My favorite quote is there's only two teams,
Uh-huh.
a winning team and the sinning team.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. So which team do you want to be
Now
on?
I'm trying to get all the score because Jesus is on the winning team.
I
So,
want to be on the
as
winning.
long as
I'm
you're on
on the winning
good.
team. I'm on Team Jesus all the
Amen.
time. All right.
Amen. Thank you
So
so much for the opportunity.
this is Jason Kinte, Freedom Academy. Reach out to him online. Schedule some time with him. Have a chat. But so
Thanks and keep
nice.
up the God work. I really
Yeah.
appreciate what you're doing. Discipleship is amazing.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Thanks.